Lesson 5.1 is we are going to write equations in slope-intercept form. Now, if you remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We know that m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. And luckily for you guys, you have already memorized this, and so this lesson should be very simple for you because you've already learned, okay, I know how to put an equation in y equals mx plus b form. I got to get the y by itself. I know how to graph an equation when I see it in y equals mx plus b form. I graph my y-intercept first, then I use my slope, which is rise over run, to find my next point. So what we're learning today is the reverse of that. Basically, they're going to give you your slope, and they're going to give you your y-intercept, and they want you to write the equation. So, since you've already memorized the slope-intercept form, it should be easy. Remember, it's y equals mx plus b. So it says, write an equation of a line whose slope m, it even tells you the letter, is -2, and whose y-intercept b is 5. So all I need to do is plug in these numbers where they go. So I've got y equals, what did it say my slope was? -2, x, and what did it say my y-intercept or b was? 5. So I've written my equation in slope-intercept form. Just as simple as that. Okay, let's do the next one. Write an equation of a line whose slope m is 3/4 and y-intercept b is -4. So I know it's y equals mx plus b, so my m is 3/4, x plus b, well since b is -4, I don't need to write plus -4. I could just write -4, same thing. Okay, so that's how we would write our equation in slope-intercept form when they give you each of those pieces. Now, it's not always going to be that easy, but for right now it is, okay? So now they want us to write an equation from the graph that they've given us. So I have a graph, okay, and I need to write an equation for this. So I know in order to write an equation in slope-intercept form, I need a slope and I need a y-intercept. Those are the only two things I need to know in order to write this equation. Oops. So let's look for our y-intercept. I know that my y-intercept is exactly where this line crosses the y-axis. Well, I know this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. So where does this line cross? Right here at -1. So I know my b is -1. Now, how do I find my slope? Well, I can look. Where does this line cross a next point? Right here. Okay? When I say cross the next point, it goes through an exact ordered pair. Like I wouldn't want to do it here. I wouldn't want to say there because it's going to go in between two numbers. And I don't want to have to deal with a fraction, like 1.5 or something like that. Okay? So I say, all right, if my slope is rise over run, if I'm going to go from this point to this point here, okay, let's use my rise over run. How much did I have to go up to get here? 1. So I know my slope is going to be, my rise is 1, and I know it's a positive 1 because I have to go up. And how many do I go over? 2. Well, which direction did I go over to? Did I go towards the negative or towards the positive? To the negative, so it needs to be 1 over -2. Now I know my slope and my y-intercept. I can write an equation, and it's going to be y equals 1 over -2x plus -1, or I can just write -1. Okay? Let's do another one of these for practice. First of all, the only two things you need to know, slope and y-intercept. We always want to find the y-intercept first when it comes to a graph. So where does this line cross the y-axis? I look at my y-axis, which is this one right here, straight up and down, and I see that my line crosses at -4. So I know no matter what, my b is -4. Now let's look for a next point on the line that it crosses, right here. You can always go directly up to your x-intercept if you want, but that's going to make your fraction a little bit bigger where you'd have to reduce it. So I like to go to the next exact point. So I'm going to go from here to here. So I need to use rise over run. So I'm going to go up 1, 2. So I know that's going to be a positive 2 as my rise. And then over 1, which am I going to the positive 1 or the negative 1? Positive. So I know it's a positive there. So I know my slope is y equals, how can I write 2 over 1? I can just write it as 2x minus 4. That's how you would write an equation in slope-intercept form from a graph. Okay? So remember, the only two things you need to know in order to write an equation in slope-intercept form is the m, which is the slope, and the y-intercept, which is the b.